In the modern day, we're convinced that we can relax, and that when we relax, we are watching Netflix or scrolling on social media, playing video games, or even watching porn. But I think we've got the wrong view of relaxation. I still think relaxation is important, but certainly not as much as it is shown to be, and certainly not as much as we're told to do it. But I still think we should relax at times. This is not how you relax. You do not put super stimulating content in front of you if you're trying to relax. As I've mentioned in a previous video, which should be up here, when you watch this super stimulating content, specifically with social media and you're scrolling on TikTok or Instagram and stuff, you're getting new context after new context, and your brain brings up knowledge for each bit of context you see. So you're fatiguing your mind. When you're trying to relax, you're just making your mind more tired. We think that since our body's not moving, we must be relaxed. But in truth, this is not the case. This is probably the worst way to relax. The way I've noticed is best for relaxing is when you simply just get away from any sense of the outside world. You get away from your work, you get away from distractions, and you sort of just go out. I did this in the past week. Me and my friends, we went on a day camping trip overnight. We went to this place where there wasn't much cell phone reception, so we hardly used our phones, and we sort of just had fun. Went to the beach, we played around on the boogie board, going down a sand dune. We went to this park, we played for a while. We sort of just did fun things. And over that trip, that whole 24 hours, I probably used my phone by myself for about 10 to 20 minutes. This, I think, is the best way to detach and to relax. Physically, we did a lot of running, walking, and climbing. Even though my body was physically active, my mind was relaxed. And this is the approach I think we need to make towards relaxation. It is often when you're physically active that your mind is able to be empty, that it is able to relax. The opposite is true when we're not active. Usually when we're still, all we can do is think. So if we want our mind to be fresh at a lot of times, we need to find ways that we can relax our mind. And I believe the best ways of doing that are the ways where you're physically active and your mind is relaxed. This particularly happens with exercise, which you will notice if you're not distracting yourself with your phone. If you go to the gym or go on a run and you don't use your phone really, I mean, you can still listen to music, but you don't use your phone, your mind is sort of empty. Thoughts might come in, but they sort of go really quickly because you're just focusing on the exercise. You're focusing on the form and lifting more weight. And when you do this, your mind sort of relaxes because it doesn't have to think much. It just has to do the exercise, which it already knows. So it'll just do it. It's learnt the exercise, so your mind is able to sort of just go onto autopilot. And it just lets it relax. You might know this as getting into the zone, this specifically with sports, because when you're playing a sport, after maybe a couple of minutes, 10-15 minutes of warm-up, you get into the game and there's no thoughts in your mind. It is just the game. That's the most important thing in the world at that point to you. Everything else about day-to-day life, it disappears, and it's just you and the game. And when you're doing this a lot, your mind is just able to relax. This does apply to work in some way with the focused deep work, but I think it's different because it's more mentally demanding when you're working because you're thinking of ideas and stuff. And whilst, yes, in sport, you're always trying to problem solve, I feel like it's just a little bit harder with work and it can be a bit more mentally draining, even though you are in a flow state. When you're able to relax your mind with movement, it works wonders for your long-term ability to avoid mental fatigue and burnout. And whilst burnout is something we should achieve at some point to learn from, we want that longevity, and letting your mind relax every now and then, I think, is the key to keeping that longevity. The active mind, inactive body principle is sort of what explains burnout. And it also explains why students who study for 6 hours but aren't really studying, they're doing the Pomodoro technique, and every 30 minutes they distract themselves with their phone for 5 minutes with ultra stimulating content. It's no wonder that they cannot get as much work done, because they're fatiguing their mind in these rest breaks. And when they do finish, they feel way more tired than the person who literally just sat down, focused for 2 hours and just studied and got the same amount of work done as them. They feel way more drained because they haven't actually relaxed their mind. Meanwhile, the person who's done 2 hours of deep focus study and then gone to the gym after, they're way more fresh. It's because they never relax their mind. So find ways to incorporate a way to relax your mind, many ways to relax your mind throughout the day. If you can go the full step further and you are able to afford it, try and go for breaks and trips every now and then, fully away from any work or world problems, and sort of just leave your phone. I mean, of course, take it, but try and make an active effort to not use it that much. To really limit yourself. If you really want to make sure you're not using your phone, just go camping somewhere where there's no reception. And then you're forced to not use it. And I promise you, when you do this, it is so refreshing. Your mind is not thinking about any work or responsibilities. You're just in the moment. The whole key to properly relaxing is to make sure your mind actually relaxes, not that your body does. Whilst yes, your body does need to relax at times, your mind probably needs it way more than you think. I know how hard it can be to give up working for a while, but you will probably come back more efficient and more productive afterwards because you've had this time to relax your mind. So please give this a try if you're struggling like with clarity and you've got a over-saturated mind and you just work. Actually give your brain time to relax because it needs it. Don't use overstimulating content to relax. Actually relax. I love you all. Now stop consuming and go create.